Y'all, most of us have been in relationships. Um, and I would say most of us have been in relationships that we felt like had we known better, we would have done better. Um, Me, I have been in one relationship. It resulted in a marriage and 3 children. So I was grateful for that, but the things that I had to go through in that relationship, I think that had I known better, I definitely would have done better. Um, I only was in that one relationship, but I learned a lot. And when I say a lot, I mean a lot. Um, what I went through in the one marriage, some people go through in multiple relationships. And sometimes I think, in me personally, I feel like, and I tell my children this all the time, I went through it so that they don't have to. In some kind of way, I don't know if it's because of the things that they've saw and the things that they've been, not even been through, because my children are 15, 18, and 21. But I feel like they saw things in our household that they knew that they didn't want to go through or weren't going to go through. And I'm grateful for that because, I'm the type, I can sometimes be a worrier, and I don't want them going through things I've been through. So I made this video because I felt like if I can even share something that you can share with your children or even use for yourself that I plan to use moving forward. I mean, I'm only 38, so I'm going to date. I'm going to remarry, right? And some things that I know to avoid now, I didn't know when I was 15. One being, it is very important to know what someone's background is. And when I say background, I mean, how were their mother and father? How did they get along? How did they act? That's very important. And it's kind of, people can kind of look at you funny when you say that, because it's like, oh, well, are you saying that people who had, unfit parents don't deserve love? No, everybody deserves love, right? So only you know what you can tolerate or what you're going to tolerate. Nobody else can dictate that. So, like, for instance, if you want to make sure that when you date, you decide to have children, right? You want to have a 2-parent household. You want to have, you and your husband, you work on a business or whatever the case may be. And I know that sounds funny to say, because people will say that's common sense. Everybody wants that, but everybody doesn't care about that. I'll tell you that. I've met people. Some people don't care about that. So if that's what you want, then that's what you're going to look for. Now, when I say about people's background, also, when you get to know them and you have conversations, you're dating, you're going out to dinner, you're talking on the phone, you can ask questions, especially if you're in your 30s, 40s, and you're dating again. There's questions that need to be answered. Was your childhood chaotic? That's fair. Because a lot of times what we go through when we're younger, that tends to reflect our life as we're older. Like me personally, I grew up in a calm household. I grew up in my household with my mother and my two sisters. My mother didn't have boyfriends in and out. She protected us from all of that, and we didn't. So it was just us four. I mean, we had little girly arguments and stuff like that, but we didn't have chaos. So somebody who's coming from a chaotic childhood may not understand me. Then there's a such thing as healed and unhealed. So when it comes to the question, okay, so does the person who came from a chaotic household deserve love? Yeah, they do. But in order for them to give and receive the type of love that you have, they have to be healed. Meaning the things that affected them in childhood should not be affecting them now in order for them to maintain a relationship with you. And that's fair. If you're not healed, you don't need to be dating. And when I say healed, because I don't like when people say things and then don't explain it. I'm a very, like, I need dummy terms. So when I say healed, I mean, are things from your childhood still affecting you? Do you complain all the time? Are you very negative? Do you feel like sometimes you can't catch a break? Can you not see the positive in anything? Do you never see progression in life? Do you often reflect on things that happened in your childhood to the point where it brings you down and you're sulking about it 30 years later? Like those are signs of not being healed. And if you feel any of those feelings, you should not be dating. The only thing you can do is hinder someone's life. And God forbid children come about. Then you're hindering them too. And in the same breath of air, if you get with somebody like that, the same will happen. It's okay to tell somebody, I like you, but I don't think that we're a good fit right now. I was the type of person that I went off potential. What could maybe be? Oh, maybe this or maybe that, or they can change, they can this and they can that. But no. I found out that when someone shows you who they are, you should definitely believe them. Anything that doesn't make you feel comfortable is a sign. Anything. And uncomfortable doesn't mean that you're like dwelling on it or your sole focus is on it. No, it doesn't have to mean that. It could just mean that you can look at somebody and you notice that they're putting their phone down continuously. Whether they're doing anything or not, and I mean like flipping their phone, like every time they put their phone down, they can never put it down face up. Or when they talk on the phone, they're going to the other room. It might even be a brief, in the beginning, it might even be a brief, oh, that's okay, that's kind of weird, but okay, whatever. If you got to say that, and then you mention it, and then that behavior doesn't change, it's probably a no-go. Especially if the person can tell you some things that you might do that make them uncomfortable, and you adjust those mannerisms. Energy has to be reciprocated. It has to be a give and take, not one-sided. But backgrounds play a huge, huge role in it. And this is why we have to talk to our children about this kind of thing. It might to them seem kind of weird, but when we're talking about these things, we're not just talking about the now, we're protecting our legacies, right? And we're also focusing on not continuing generational curses. This is for my people that are not selfish and not just worried about immediate gratification, right? So if you're the type of person like, oh, mama gonna have a man, daddy gonna get, like, if you're that type of person and you want to date right now, you're looking for instant gratification or just sex or whatever the case may be, you can go ahead and exit the building right now, because this video is not for you. No. I mean, if that's you, then you can pretty much be with anybody. This video is not for you. You can go ahead and close out now. But for the people who actually care about their lineage for generations to come, this video is for you. Because what we do becomes a habit, right? And not only does it become a habit, but everything we do, our children are watching. Whether we pay attention, whether we notice them watching, whether they say anything about it, they're watching. I know a lot of people think it's kind of weird that I've only ever been in one relationship. But there's a lot of reasons that I chose that. For one, I'm not selfish. And I feel like I felt like I didn't want my children to be subject to anything from anyone that I didn't know. Like, I kind of let my mind play on the fact that, especially when they were younger, I stayed in the relationship and it was like, oh, well, you don't want anybody doing anything to your kids, or, or things like that. That kind of played on my mind. But then also, I wanted my children to see the type of discipline that I wanted them to have, to physically be able to see it. And I realized that children learn by example, not by words. My mother, it was the same way for me. I only ever seen my mother with one real boyfriend who ended up being her husband. And growing up, she didn't have any boyfriends. She waited. So it was easy for me to understand discipline, because I saw it. And she's just fine. She's A-okay. She was A-okay. So, another thing that I learned while reflecting on how things played out in my relationship that I wish I could have done different is not to overgive, right? Naturally, I'm a giver. I'm the type of person that wants to see everybody win. I'm the type of person that will give my last. Well, I'll say I was. And I did it so much to the point where, and again, this doesn't even have to be for like a boyfriend girlfriend situation or a marriage or anything like that. This can even be for friends. I found out that people that take from you, they have no boundaries. They're going to take as long as you give. There's no filter. There's no, oh, I think you're giving too much. I think you should stop. You're doing too much. I never heard anybody say that, ever. It was always, what's the next thing you can do? And it doesn't even have to be anything physical. It can even be advice. You might be going through the worst. I literally was going through a divorce, and I had somebody come and tell me, and they knew the whole situation. In fact, they were related to my ex-husband. And they were just like, all they cared about for me was me helping them start their business. And I told my mother, I was like, wow, I was like, I know I'm not a complainer, and I make it look good, but I'm like, dang, I'm like, don't they want to take into consideration that I'm going through a whole divorce right now? Like, it was in the middle of it. And I didn't really have a nasty divorce, but at the same time, like, I have to readjust my life, and all they kept blowing my phone up about helping them start their business. I think it was then when I realized that I have to start setting boundaries with people. All this, I'm still nice. I'll still help anyone, but not to the point of where basically you have to pick and choose who you do that for. Because again, the energy has to be reciprocated. This particular person has never offered me anything, not even advice. And that's free. And they probably never would. So if you're helping somebody, you need to have the mental capacity and the time to be able to do that. And at the time I didn't. I was adjusting my life to being single, which I never have done in all my adult life. And I was adjusting to having my children by myself, which again wasn't a hard transition, but at the end of the day, it was what it was. People don't have any filters when it comes to what you can do for them. So you have to set boundaries. Another thing, at this point, and again, I'm going to say, I'm going to say at any age. Now that I'm getting ready to go back into dating, and, I'm open to that because, having sex like in the beginning and all of that is a horrible mistake. You might have one or two examples or be able to pinpoint one example here, one example there where the situation turned out, but for the most part, I don't know any situations where that turned out to be favorable, where the relationship lasted. I just feel like before you give your body, and this is for males too, by the way, before you give your body up to anybody, you need to know them. It's almost to the point where in this day and age, you need to be asking for their my chart and show them yours. Yeah. Because You'll think you're in some sort of relationship, and next thing you know, you in the doctor's office with something you ain't never even heard of and can't get rid of. And you can say, oh, that's weird to be asking somebody for that. Okay, but it's also weird to have sex in the early stage of a relationship too. I don't care how many people do it. Also, sometimes I think about, like, try to think of it as like, if I was a man, would I want a woman? Would I take a woman serious rather? Because I mean, men sometimes, and sometimes women will date anybody, but um, where's the level of respect? If you don't respect you, how can you expect somebody else to anyway? And that means respecting your body as well. And if they don't like it, then you just find somebody else. But at least you didn't give your body up, and they can't say, well, they had you and they did this and they didn't know. You could just go on to the next person. It didn't work out. That's it. That's it. No feelings, no love lost, nothing. And I'm talking to the people who have too much to lose at this point in life. Businesses, careers, children, property, savings, life savings, people who have too much to lose. So I'm hoping you already know this anyway, and I'm just reiterating what you already know. People say the dating pool is trash. I don't believe that. I believe that people don't pay attention to signs. I believe that people don't set boundaries. I believe that people don't know what they're looking for when they go out dating anyway. I believe people are in a rush. That doesn't mean that the dating pool is trash. That just means that some people don't have discipline or patience. It's not the same. I believe that people don't want to wait on God to bring you to someone. I believe that people want to find the next person on their own. And God will let you. If somebody tell you, and again, whatever. If somebody tell you that they done been in prison the majority of their life, and here you are with a 6-figure business, and this person doesn't have a house, a car, they got a ton of kids, like, and I know that's a crazy scenario, but I've seen it. And the person's older than me. Now you gotta pretend like on social media like y'all this and that because you was a dummy. To alleviate all of that, just believe people are who they say they are in the beginning. Just find somebody else. Before, a huge before, you go give me your body. All of that. All right, y'all. That's my rant for the day. I just thought I'd share those things with y'all. I'm coming back with some more. Those are just some things that I thought off of the top of my head. Comment below and let me know what you feel about that. If you agree or disagree. Maybe you learned something, or maybe you got something to teach me. All right. And also, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. All right, y'all. Talk to y'all later. Bye.